Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Redington virtual events session. Today we have a session on MicroFocus and we have a pre-sales consultant, Mohammed Sirajuddin, who will be taking you through the entire session. Siraj, over to you.
Hey, Bindya, thank you very much. Good evening, team. My name is Mohammed Sirajuddin. So firstly, welcome to the Redington virtual event. So in today's event, I'll be taking you through the MITRE attack and how is it benefiting, how is ATT&CK helping you achieve the MITRE attack framework. So in today's session, what we will try to understand is you will get to know what MITRE attack framework is, and you will get to know what are the benefits and what is this framework, how is this framework helping the L1 analyst, how is this helping the hunt team, the SOC analyst, the response team, how are they able to utilize this framework. And we will also discuss a couple of use cases where we will see what exactly is the differentiating factor on following an anonymous mechanism of analysis versus following the MITRE attack framework. Apart from that, we will also see how is ATT&CK helping us in achieving this framework. What is ATT&CK's contribution? How is ATT&CK enabling our analyst team to align their research, align their analysis, and align their findings in accordance with the world-renowned MITRE attack framework. So let's start with this. A brief introduction about myself. My name is Mohammed Sirajuddin, and I'm a lead consultant at Redington Gulf, primarily focusing on MicroFocus security portfolio. So you have my mobile number and my email address mentioned here. So let me start with the MITRE attack. So many of us might be aware of MITRE attack, and majority of us might not even be aware of what MITRE attack is. So just to cover up this gap, MITRE attack is actually a platform which is a framework which is easily accessible to everyone. It's just the website that you access and you get to know, you get access to the MITRE attack. So MITRE attack is a framework of well-known cyber attack techniques that are utilized by the real-time by the real-time scenarios. So MITRE attack actually includes three major phenomenons. One is the matrices, another is the tactic, the third is the technique. Let me just show you on the browser of what the MITRE attack looks like. Look at this. This is the MITRE attack page. So the website you see is attack.mitre.org. So this MITRE attack has three components: matrices, tactics, and techniques. These are the three major areas that we focus about. So let's proceed here. Why should we focus on MITRE attack? What is the benefit? How is it helping us? So MITRE attack, just to give you a brief overview, MITRE is an organization in the US which is working very closely with the US government and person to person with individual companies as well. And they work in the areas of terrorism, cyber attacks, and multiple things along with the US government. So in the year 2013, MITRE started working extensively on cyber attack, and they formulated extensively on the cyber attack in the sense they were analyzing the real-time scenarios, the real-time incidents that the organization is facing. So they took into consideration all these real-time scenarios and they arrived at a framework called MITRE attack framework. They devised a framework. This framework is nothing but a collaboration of 12 different techniques over 12 different domains, which is classified with the proper techniques and the tactics. So MITRE attack, when we say the abbreviation for this attack is adversarial tactics, techniques, and the common knowledge. So since 2015, they rolled out this framework available to everyone. So it has more than 300 different techniques, and these techniques are not limited. They keep growing as and when the attack level gets sophisticated, the technique are also increasing. So as of today, we have covered a bigger portion of the MITRE framework within ArcSight. And later on in our slides, we will also see what exactly is the difference. How is ArcSight going to help us with this MITRE ATT&CK framework? So let's proceed further. A simple example here. Say, for example, this is a communication happening. This slides is directly from the MITRE. So this is a communication happening between two teams within an organization. Look at the difference here on how earlier the earlier communication would have happened and what has the impact of MITRE attack begin. So now an analyst observes that before that, in many organizations, the way we classify the teams is different. Some organization tends to classify the team as L1, L2, L3. Some organization classify them as analysts, defenders, responders, and various terminology. So in all the aspects, so when team is communicating to another team, a sample scenario here is that the level 1 team, which is the analyst team, they observed that one of the program has modified the registry key. Now this registry key, what has happened with the registry key is they have added a run keys within the registry, meaning that that particular program to whichever the run key is added. Let me just enable my highlighter. 1 second. Laser point. OK, probably you might be able to see my laser now. So yeah, so wherever this modification happened, this modification happened into the registry key where run keys were added, meaning that whenever a laptop or a system is starting, the operating system is booting, the program is automatically starting along with that. So the analyst identifies this, that an Adobe Updater to an Adobe Updater program, a run key was modified. So now this information is passed on to the defender team. This is within a single company, passed on to the defender company. But what is happening right now is that the run key is actually classified within the MITRE ATT&CK framework with a proper technique ID. So the analyst highlights this with the technique ID called T1060, and this is a global standard. The defender team, when they understand that the defender team, the very first time when they see that T1060 has been highlighted by the analyst team, the defender team easily gets understanding that, okay, somewhere the registry has been modified. Now, let me take you to the website again and show you how exactly is the representation of this data is done. Say, for example, here. The matrices. So I click on the matrices, I get to see the enterprise matrix. So the 12 details that we are talking about is these are the different platforms that we are talking about. Say, for example, if you're talking about credential access is categorized as one single unit. And now under this unit, you see brute force attack, you see credential dumping, you see credentials in files. So the credentials can be existing in files. Someone can do a brute force attack to gain the access by compromising the host or the credentials. So everything has been classified into one single unit called MITRE ATT&CK. So now what happens here is let me just show you the tactics here. So the tactics, if I get into the enterprise level tactics, you will see here, say, for example, TA, the TA ID that represents the tactics ID, and it gives you the explanation as what is this tactics ID getting into picture. And when you talk about techniques, the technique starts with the ID T, and it gives you full information about what exactly the issue is about. So for example, access manipulation, be it account access removal, what exactly is the issue. And when you do a deep dive on this account access removal, it talks about what is this, how is this taken into effect? Like how is it executed in organizations, and how will you detect and mitigate this? So what happens when we talk about ArcSight? So the biggest component for us is someone telling this ID. There should be someone within the organization which is trying to help us align the activity, like the modification done on this analyst Adobe Updater, and combining this with the specific framework of MITRE ATT&CK. So here is the place where ArcSight fills the gap. ArcSight helps you detect. ArcSight sits on top of all your devices, and it helps you identify this and align your organizational analysis process as per the MITRE framework. Let's look at another example. Another example here is about cross communication, where different organizations are communicating. In the previous example, we saw different teams within an organization communicating, but here we see different organizations getting into communicating. The same scenario, one of the company highlights that APT 1337. APT 1337 is one of the group name which is associated with the registry key attack. And some other company observes that fuzzy duck application has been used. So now fuzzy duck is actually, the group is using fuzzy duck as an application to which is again to which the registry key is being modified. So in ideal scenario, if you see, both company A and company B are talking about the same mechanism of modification of registry key. Here they are representing APT 1137. Here they are representing fuzzy duck. So what framework does is, the framework, now the team company A can align themselves with the framework ID T1060, which is representing for registry key. Company B, who have observed fuzzy duck, can also align this with T1060, which is in accordance with the MITRE framework. This is the technique ID. The third company, which means, oh, okay, here the third company understands, okay, the consumer understands T1060. Okay, man, I understood. We are talking about a modification of registry key. The framework, so you see like the ease of communication happening between the previous slide. I'm going to the previous slide, between two teams within the same organization and between different organizations. When you have a common framework, this helps a lot for us to be aligned. This is extremely important for our investigation to happen. Now, let's take some more technical examples. Okay, so this example now tries to fill some gaps on our investigation, the investigation that on our analysts do day-to-day basis. So let's talk about FIN7. FIN7 is actually one of the finance related groups, which is finance related means this is a group which targets finance based organizations, and it uses different tools and techniques to attack them. So the one that you see here in blue are the different techniques that is used by FIN7 to attack the organization. Now, in the next slide, you see APT 29. APT 29 is also another mechanism that is used by another group. APT 29 is from China, I believe, if I remember correctly. So APT 29 is another group which is into credential stealing. Say they use a different technique to execute their activity. Now, if you combine both of these two, FIN7 is represented in blue, APT 29 is represented in yellow color, and the red color that you see is the focused area, which both of them are doing together, FIN7 and APT 29. So now this is of interest to us as an organization, as a security team, as an investigating SOC team. This is of interest to us that we are having overlapping conditions, which we can see. These are the common scenarios. So now it gives us a hint that our scenarios in the organization, within the organization, our security policies have to be very straightforward and very stringent enough, which do not allow such communication to happen. For example, PowerShell. We need to see that no one in our organization are able to execute the PowerShell commands except the specific team members. For example, the Exchange admin. The Exchange admin requires PowerShell. So he can be an exclusion for that, and that can be isolated. All his activities are being monitored. Apart from him, no one else is able to run the PowerShell. So scheduled task, no one else is able to do some scheduled task activities. So the framework is focusing us now. Now our thought process has progressed further. Now we saw two different attacks. We saw what is overlapping between them, and now we are focusing on the overlapping staging area, where we can first prioritize. This helps us in prioritizing. We can prioritize what is important to us. Look at the generic classification for APT28, the one in yellow. These are the different tactics that are used by APT28. APT29 uses the blue colored tactics that you see here, and the yellow colored tactics and the one in green is the overlapping tactics. So now wherever I see the overlapping tactics, the green, this has now become my area of priority. As an analyst, as a hunt team, as a response team, now I will actually prioritize. I got an idea, what should I prioritize now? What is more important for my organization to prioritize? So ESM, so the MITRE framework, I hope this has been informative enough for you to just give you a brief heads up on what MITRE ATT&CK Framework does for us, and how is this beneficial for our teams. Now let's talk something on the ArcSight end. I was actually preparing to show you a demo, but for some reason some of the events were not triggering. Hence I resorted to some of the slides that I have. So probably in my next session, as Redington virtual events, we are doing a series of events throughout the month, since we are locked down in this situation. So we thought like we'll go with the virtual environment. So we are doing a series of virtual events. I believe my marketing team will share you the updates on this. So in my next session, probably I remember it would be the next week or on the 9th, I'm doing another session where I'll be touch basing on MITRE ATT&CK again, and there is something called MISP, Malware Information Sharing Protocol platform. So both are supported by ArcSight. So I'll try my best to have a proper up and running and demo environment at that point of time, which you guys can attend and have a look into how ArcSight helps us practically. You can practically see how is ArcSight helping us in the MITRE framework and MISPL. So as of now, for those who are aware of ArcSight ESM, and they can easily identify this. This part of ArcSight was missing. ArcSight Foundation in the earlier scenarios, like whoever is running ArcSight 7.1, they know that ArcSight Foundation is not there in their environment, because this is a part of the default content which was removed. Now starting ESM 7.2, we have introduced MITRE ATT&CK, MISPL, and we have also introduced the default content back. So as part of the default content, we see MITRE ATT&CK package included here. So as part of our MITRE ATT&CK package, we have more than 270 rules added, which are running and detecting the MITRE ATT&CK. So to give you an update, a brief update on what exactly is the big change happening here. Earlier, whatever the rules you had, for example, if you look like couple of old content, or probably the content that you had downloaded from the ArcSight marketplace, the rules were triggering normally, but now the rules, whenever they trigger, they will trigger with the MITRE ATT&CK ID. You see the technique ID. Whenever a rule is triggering, it will trigger with the MITRE ATT&CK technique ID. So this ID will help us lay out and connect the dots, which will help our security analyst team to focus. A sample attack would be, a sample scenario would be brute force. Brute force event has been working with brute force rule has been in ArcSight since more than 10 years. So now the brute force attack is added to populate the MITRE ID. So whenever a brute force attack is happening within an organization, it will also come up with, it will also highlight the correlated event. When it is generated, it will highlight the MITRE ID. And we have the dashboards, MITRE ATT&CK dashboards, which since I said I was not able to get you the demo, I have managed to get you the slides. So you see here clearly, I would like to focus you on this particular slide for a minute. In this particular slide, you can clearly see that the ArcSight overview dashboard, attackers and target dashboard, is specifically highlighting what kind of attack is happening in your organization, like brute force attack. This ID T1110 is associated with brute force, and T120 is associated with exploit of remote services. And it is pinpointing what targets and what attackers are involved in this discussion. So you can easily identify which machines internally are communicating to outside machines, and what is the kind of cyber attack being executed. We also have integration commands added, where we can go ahead and look up. We have the integration command to look up with the MITRE ATT&CK website. We have commands for virus total hash lookup. Probably we'll see in our next sessions that I'll be doing on how can we utilize these integration commands. These are some of the generic dashboards that exist in ArcSight. Something specific, I would talk on the MITRE ATT&CK events. Every single event that is being generated now within ArcSight is having MITRE ATT&CK associated with them. Now, every single, wherever the attack is generated, MITRE ATT&CK event is generated, the analyst can go click on the attack. The specific ID will divert him to the MITRE ATT&CK web page. For example, if there is a DDoS attack happening. So now, when assume that there is a DDoS attack and our IDS or IPS has alerted ArcSight that there has been a DDoS attack, which they have allowed, they have prevented whatsoever. So now with this attack, the ArcSight will use the MITRE framework and will populate the rules indicating what is the event ID associated, what is the technique ID associated with this DDoS attack. So when the analyst click on the technique ID, he will automatically be landed to the MITRE ATT&CK framework page, where he can review what exactly is this attack, where is it coming from, and how they can mitigate this attack. Mitigate techniques are also listed within the MITRE ATT&CK web page. For example, detection, mitigation. So wherever each and every attack within the MITRE is associated with many details, is furnished with a huge amount of details. So you can go, you can specifically review what exactly is that, how are you going to detect them, and how you can mitigate them. All controls and all details will be measured, and references will also be shared. So this becomes very important for us. This helps to a greater extent. Now, our landing page has also been updated with the MITRE ATT&CK framework. This is a sample snapshot, particularly very helpful to team members who are already using ArcSight. They will get to know what exactly the ArcSight rules. On the left hand side, we have the rule name, and this is the rule location where exactly it is getting triggered. And on the right hand side, we see the MITRE attack IDs that it is associated with. So for the team members who are already using ArcSight ESM, do not have, I would suggest them to upgrade to the ESM version 7.2. So once you upgrade to the ESM version 7.2, you will be in a position to utilize the MITRE ATT&CK Framework. Also, you'll be in a position to use the MISPL, which I'll be discussing in the next webinar, or Malware Information Sharing Protocol platform. So this helps us to a very great extent. So apart from this, I would a couple of slides more, which is talking about the look and feel in the command center. These are some of the screenshots that we see from the command center. Extremely informative, easy, which we will be able to see further during our next session. I believe this is what I have as of now. Thank you very much for your time. And probably please do join in my next session, which probably my team will share the details about. Bindya, thank you very much.